First settlers arrived in Blendon Township in 1806. They found a wonderful place to settle in northeast Franklin County. Today, the 9,000 people that live there find it a wonderful place to live.
In order to pay our outstanding current liabilities, we need to collect some of our current outstanding taxes, which we projected at 8.5 cents on each cow from our farmers, 10 cents for each bull, 7 cents on each horse, and 4.5 cents on each of their hogs.
The trustees back in the 1800s tended to throw people out of the township quite a bit. If they didn't pay their taxes, they would order the constables to remove them from the township, or if they were homeless, they would order the constables to remove them from the township as well.
As we was talking about your budget there, I think we need to look at how do we attract more good families and the hardworking people to the township. I think that will help with the budget you've presented.
Well, yes, especially since the families that are not working nor contributing by paying taxes, we have our constable eject them. We need tax-paying citizens here.
The trustees also were responsible for the aid of ill people, so they would often send doctors of the township trustees choosing, because I found in the minutes that they made sure that one doctor was not used whatsoever, so something happened there. And they would send the doctor to the residences in the township, they would treat the ill, and then the trustees would then bill the people that they served.
Blendon Township was actually formed in 1815. It was governed by trustees and a constable. They ran the township much as the trustees run it today. And interestingly enough, the problems you hear about today, some of them are the same that were from 1815. If you were to fly over Blendon Township today, you would see a vast diversity of neighborhoods. To the east of Hoover is wide open land and large lots. North to the Franklin County line, you have newer neighborhoods. South toward Maurice Road, you have older established neighborhoods where generations have lived. One of the earlier neighborhoods was Huber Ridge.
We honored those people who have lived in Huber Ridge for 50 years or more.
Today, many of the residents have lived in Huber Ridge for 40 to 50 years.
They're I was going to say young people, but actually they're not. You know, they're in their 50s or so, that have come back into the community and bought the homes that they were raised in, which is, you know, it's just phenomenal. And that's not just one or two, that's several.
I've been here since 1961.
Their stories are wonderful.
We were one of the first families on Oslo Drive, and now at this time, in 2015, Huber Ridge will be 54 years old, and I am now 81, one of the oldest residents in the Ridge.
Well, my wife Nancy and I moved into the Huber Ridge area here in Blendon Township in November of 1961, right after our oldest son was born. We moved here because, number one, we wanted a brick home.
What's even more refreshing to hear is how the community, the neighborhood feel, that small town, good neighbor feeling has persisted throughout the decades.
My grandkids visit and they enjoy the area just as much as we do.
The people make the neighborhoods. The people make the township. And the joy of Blendon Township is there are many, many activities for those people to get involved in.
I belong to the Huber Ridge Area Association, and I've worked on Huber Blooms, and I've worked on a Block Watch rep.
Although Blendon Township is located in a metropolitan area, it maintains a small town feel. Part of that small town feel comes from the events that are open to the entire community. Whether it's a car show featuring old antique cars, a marathon for runners, an old-fashioned baseball game, or a concert in the park with free food and music and activities for the kids, There is something for every family in Blendon to participate in.
Well, we're here down at the Blendon Township Summer Concerts, setting up a display of police cars, and we're handing out hats and stickers, plastic badges to the kids while the summer concert goes on, and the township provides the free food and the bounce house, just being part of the community as we try to be with our police department. We have 17 officers right now, 2 detectives, and a full-time civilian and 2 part-time civilians.
My name's Brian Miller. I'm the fire chief for the Westerville Division of Fire, and we cover the communities of Westerville and Blendon Township. I've actually been with the city and the township for the past 16 years. I specifically worked at the station we're in right now, Station 112, which serves Blendon Township, for about 8 years of my career. Station 112 was dedicated in November 2004. It's 11 years old. The Westerville Division of Fire has a really good response time, both in the township and in the city. We average about a 4 to 6 minute response time for fire and EMS calls. In both jurisdictions, we respond with state-of-the-art equipment, and citywide, we run 3 engine companies, a ladder company, 2 advanced life support medic companies, and 1 basic life support squad company, and a battalion chief.
Well, our police force has expanded. We built a new police department building. The senior center has expanded. So we've seen a lot of growth in those 30 years.
I'm the director of Blendon Senior Center, and I've been lucky to be here for almost 25 years now.
The Blendon Senior Center, headed by Donna Jordan, is a place where the families can come. They can meet friends, play cards.
We do things ranging from line dancing to art classes to discussion groups, all kinds of fun things.
I'm the service director here at Blendon Township.
Our service department has a special claim to fame.
Our claim to fame seems to be the snow plowing of Blendon Township, because we are fast and efficient in the way we do our snow plowing.
Our goal is to make sure that the streets are clear when the residents get up and try to drive to work. John Giamarco has been heading this effort for several decades.
Our cemetery was originally created back in 1829. Timothy Lee and Edward Phelps contributed an acre each, but we are now 28 acres. We have a Section A that holds the Phelps family, the Noble family, and many ancestors.
This is one of the earliest maps we could find of Blendon Township. Blendon Township has Elm Creek running through it. Then there's also Big Walnut Creek running from north to south. Here is the Dublin Granville Road, where the pioneers hacked their way through the wilderness. There was an important ford over Elm Creek right here on the Dublin Granville Road. And here is what's known as Blendon Corners, where the Blendon Log Plank Road, which now runs up through Westerville, State Street up here called Westerville Road here, created a early settlement with many of the people that we mentioned earlier, the Nobles. The Phelps had 500 acres.
We just finished the park across the street from the cemetery. It's called Phelps Acre. It's beautifully done to accommodate children and also anyone that would like to come visit.
When I started, the township probably had a budget of about $3 million as far as expenditures, and right now we have a budget of over $6.5 million. It's really progressed in the last 30 years.
Our real claim to fame here has been our secret recipe for the best stromboli, and I say in the world, but I'll guarantee you it's the best you'll ever eat. I mean, if you mention our name throughout the community, first thing will pop up is stromboli.
I've been cutting hair for about 37 years now.
Blendon is really proud of its businesses. They range from small one-man operations on up to large multinational corporations.
A lot of good people here, a lot of good restaurants, shopping, and they're doing a lot of road work around here to make a lot of improvements around here. And the shopping center has worked out really great. Every shop owner I've run into so far has Really been nice people, good people. I'm looking forward to be here many years, so.
The heart and soul of Blendon, however, is the individual family-owned businesses that are prevalent throughout our commercial areas.
Love this area, would like to stay here for the long term, would actually like to grow here. That's something that I can't always say about other locations we've had.
We've been part of the Blendon Township community since the 1970s, where my wife and I started Reiner Realty and Consultants. Our impression is that Blendon Township creates a great place for families to live. It has an excellent school system, the Westerville schools. They watch their budget very carefully, and it's a great place to live. There's a wonderful environment here. People are friendly, and they've kept up their old good neighborly pioneer tradition of looking out for each other.
Our father was an attorney in Columbus, and we went into practice with him and established the office here.
Shortly after we moved here in the 1950s, Hoover Dam was built over on Sunbury Road, and that attracted a lot of people to this area. Also, Huber Ridge was developed, and that attracted many more people. So the area grew very rapidly in the 50s and 60s, and Westville became an official city. It had its own committeeman, so to speak, and Westville, the Blendon Township, the area outside of Westville, had its own committeeman.
We've been really blessed to have this location in this community with all the support from our regular customers. You come here any time of day. Everybody seems to know everybody else. We're kind of a real close-knit group of customers and community participants in this place.
As you know, this has been my month to go out and check all the fences to make sure cattle are getting out. And Old Man Shot's cattle continue to get out. I chased them all afternoon. That's what happened to my hat. I'm upset about that. He's been notified he's supposed to fix the fence. He knows he's in charge of it, but he doesn't do it. So I guess the question is, as trustees, should we hire somebody to fix the fence to keep his cattle in?
Well, to answer your question, I definitely think we have money in the treasury to pay for an individual, especially the constable. We owe him money right now, and if we can pay the constable a little bit more money to hire somebody to go out and fix the fences, I think we could definitely add that on to Mr. Schott's taxes on his cows that are getting out.
Our neighbors were very friendly and helpful. We didn't know much about farming, and so they helped us, and were always very helpful. In fact, we had a history of our horses. We had horses and cattle, and horses would get out and run up and down Hempstead Road and Sunbury Road and all around. And we'd get a call from the local constable and saying that our horses were running wild, and we'd get a bucket of oats and track them down. And usually they were in the cemetery, which was not an appropriate place for them to be. But everybody would, including the constable, would join in, and we'd round up our horses.
I also remember we had hogs as well, and our fence along the road here that separated our farm from the road and the cemetery on the other side had a hedge fence with a few strands of barbed wire in it. And periodically Dad would get a call from the township trustee and say, "Brad, your hog's over in the cemetery again."
Really, when you think about Blendon Township and you think about Westerville City Schools,
Blendon Township is arguably the birthplace of Westerville City Schools, going back into the early 1800s, where Blendon Township had 6 school districts. Eventually, the rise of the village of Westerville to being incorporated in the mid-1800s and becoming City of Westerville, leading to the incorporation of those school districts into what is now known as Westerville City Schools in modern day. We've had a very large technology initiative the last couple of years that have put over 6,500 devices into classrooms, into students' hands in the last 14 months. We are very engaged with our local business community in discussing what does it mean to be college and career ready in today's economy, and trying to align the curricular opportunities that our students have coming into the system so that all of our students are accessing college and career readiness curriculum, so that when they leave us, they're ready for both the world of work and continuing their education.
As a Blendon resident of just over 10 years, I'm actually a newcomer to the area. Blendon has been around, as you've heard, for over 200 years. And this is a community that's tucked away outside of Columbus, and its heritage is as rich and long as those 200 years. We're sitting at a house that you saw the pictures of earlier, and it's a schoolhouse. It was one of the originals, built in 1880, and it's still here today. And by its side is an old oak tree that was already old in 1880, and it's still here today. I'm here to tell you that Blendon, as a community, is as strong as that oak tree. Its heritage has continued to grow. It has never lost its small neighborhood feel. As you've heard from the neighbors and you've seen from the prior video, this is a fantastic place to live. It's one where people care about each other. It's a neighborhood. It's several neighborhoods. And it's not trying to be the biggest, it's trying to be the best place to live. We are very proud of our community, and we would ask, come visit us sometime. You've seen the myriad of things we have available to do here. So even 200 years later, the Blendon that exists today is probably pretty close to the vision that those founding fathers had when they first settled here in the 1800s. An ideal spot to live.